Sea of Sorrows, Book 2 of The Rod of God, by Charley Brindley. Narrated by Charles Robert Fox. Chapter 1. I watched a girl strolling along the street, avoiding the crowds of people. Most of them were young men, in groups of 2 and 3, sometimes more. Many young women lined the sidewalk, showing as much skin as possible, enticing the men to come inside their tiny rooms for a few minutes of pleasure. It was past 2 a.m. on Saturday night, but the street was filled, mostly pedestrians, but some on motorbikes. A few cars were parked along the curb, but no one tried to drive through the mob of people. A few solitary middle-aged men browsed through the women, even 1 or 2 older men, like me. American, British, Australian, I couldn't tell unless they spoke. The girl walked past me again, watching the people. She seemed out of place in a pressed baby blue blouse and tan skirt reaching below her knees. I stepped away from the curb, trying to get a better look at her face. She ignored me. She's not working? Then what's she doing in Lad Prau, Bangkok's busiest sex district? Waiting for someone? Young, maybe 18 or so. A group of 4 Thai men stopped her, asking something. She shook her head and turned away. One of the men took her arm, asking again. The girl jerked away and hurried along the sidewalk, passing close by me, obviously frightened. The man who had taken her arm yelled at her, "Hai twa na kami zeng." It wasn't a pleasant remark. The 4 men laughed. I turned the other way, watching the women work the street. This is my 5th night on the street. What do I expect to find? A girl in a pink bikini touched my arm. "You American, come with me 5 little bit minutes." I smiled and shook my head. How do they always know? I'd left my suit and tie in the hotel room, trying to dress casual. Of course, my face gave me away as Caucasian, but why not British or Canadian? I just can't shed this American aura. I started walking down the block, and several more women offered me their wares before I reached the end of it, and then turned back to walk on the opposite side of the street. The magnetism of the beautiful Thai faces drew me like a kitten's dream of a room full of toy mice. The girls who offered themselves, almost pleading for my attention, or rather my money, repelled me. But the ones who stood back, crossed their arms, and dismissed me with a haughty, slow turn of their heads, they were the fire I craved. I loved the arrogant attitude, but none had the right features. Her full lips, impish nose, and the small, almost childlike shape of her face, and her eyes were dark, glowing embers, ready to flare up and burn anyone who came too close. Long black hair thrown back with a flick of her fingers, as if brushing me away. That was how I saw her when we first met. None could ever match that sweet image, but I wandered on, in search of someone who might. Maybe, someday, just maybe. "Leave me alone." It was a woman's voice, behind me. I turned. The girl. A young man gripped her biceps and said something I couldn't hear. "No." His buddy took her other arm. "Come on, just for an hour," he said in Thai. "We'll pay you." It was the same 4 tormentors from earlier. She struggled against them. The other 2 of their group stood before her, laughing and pointing at a panic-stricken expression. Many men walked by, glancing at the confrontation, and then went on. "I don't want to," she yelled. The 2 men pulled her toward a doorway. The other 2 men looked around and then followed. She cried out for help. "She said she doesn't want to," I said. The man gripping her right arm glared at me. "Beat it, old man," he said in English, "before you get hurt." Let her go.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?